So this workshop has emerged from conversations we had with Dr. Gopinath Ji about the importance for everyone to be able to speak up. Then we're focusing on women particularly, but actually there's no such separation really. It's not so much about the gender, it's about what does it take, what does it mean to be able to speak up. What is healing narratives? So healing narratives is the title of a course that I taught in the United States inside a jail, Cook County Jail in Chicago. I taught this course on narratives and storytelling, and it was totally infused by the teachings of Sanatana Dharma. It was very much about how do we attain a level of relaxation, the relationship between listening and breathing. How do we move our bodies in ways that feel safe after experiencing trauma? And how do we listen to what our bodies have to say? Many times when we experience trauma, we stay in denial after for a while, and we don't have the tools. We feel like we don't have the tools. So in the healing narrative process, and we will be doing some writing, so do you all have something to write on? A piece of paper and a pen. We'll do something simple, because of the time, but everybody can have something to write on. And so first of all, healing narratives. So a narration or a narrative is a story. So there's something really important in the teachings of yoga that I have come to truly understand after some contemplation. That on the one hand, to be able to define one's own story is a great privilege. It should be a right. Every person should have the right to say, I am this, I am the daughter of, I am working here, I. So the attention of the I is very important in our development as human beings. It shouldn't be bypassed altogether. In fact, to be able to understand how we curate our own stories is a huge power we have as humans. But not everybody has it. Not everybody has it. Not everybody can describe who they are according to who they think they really want to be. Sometimes we sacrifice that in the name of keeping the peace at home, or your parents may tell you that you are this, you are that. Your friends, your spouse will tell you are this, you are that. And if you're not aware enough, you'll believe them and totally become a different person than who you think you are. When that happens, Swami Gitananda Giri describes this psychic disassociation called nara. So you behave in a particular way, you think about something, you say something different, and there's association. So a narrative is the capacity to align yourself to your own truth. That is truly the power of storytelling. And in this particular culture of Bharat, you have so many stories that are political, mythical, mythological. They're all one. You cannot separate. There's great epics. And through those, you learn about your dharma and your place in the universe. But in other cultures, that's not always the case. Okay, so people are a little bit at a loss with what stories they should be saying. So the first exercise we'll do a couple of practices, but the first exercise we'll do is an exercise that Ammaji Meenakshi Devi Bhavanani taught us in the ashram. So I'm going to ask you to get your paper, and I'm going to ask you to give 6 answers to the question, who am I? Okay, so write, who am I, question mark. And then underneath, 5 questions. It could be a name, I am a writer, I am a mother. Or it could be an adjective, I'm happy, I am energetic. So see what comes and answer 5 times. Take your time. You don't have. Go to the desk. If you don't have something to write on, the desk has pens and paper.
You have to write same answer 5 times?
No. Answer who am I in 5 different ways.
5?
5. Yeah, different ones, 5 different ones. You have 5 definitions of yourself? Yeah. We had to do 108 with Amaji. So, some of you wrote in a flash, some of you are still at the second one. Eh? We're not used to being asked this question. We know so much. And to be honest about it. So we talk about, when doing the writings like this and really asking the question, we talk about the voice of the heart. It's not a cheesy expression, it actually is true. It's like, who am I, truly? When you do this again and again and again, you slowly begin to enter a different realm where you attain a higher level of awareness and you become more attuned to the truth, which is, I am light, I am love. It slowly starts to happen after, right? But at first, what comes up is, what came up for you? What is your first answer?
I am Atman.
Oh no, she got it right away. Okay, thank you. You don't need this class, I think. But you're welcome to stay, but... Wow. Yes. Yes, done. A+.
No,
Huh?
recently I'm a soul, she wrote.
I'm a soul, okay. What else? I'm partly divine. Okay, sir, I think that in this context, this exercise, I'm partly divine, I'm a soul, I'm a spirit, I'm Atman. It's like, oh, okay, what about, and the name comes, okay, good. What else? Huh? I'm going to do what Barack Obama did. I'm just going to drop the mic and go up.
Yesterday's and today's morning's learnings properly.
It should have been the first question, yeah, exactly. So there's all of that. So think about how beautiful it is that we can use words to define our identity. It may sound like obvious to you, but it's not everywhere and for everyone the same. Not everyone has that power. A great writer, Nyong'o from Kenya, said that his pen, at the time of independence of Kenya, was his weapon. He didn't have weapons, but his pen was his weapon. So what does that mean? The words we use, and this is part of Nada Yoga in that sense, is that the words we use to define ourselves create ourselves. Just like the food you eat is who you are, the words you speak to yourself about your definition of yourself are also creating yourself. So when we work with women, for example, when I worked with them, now I'm working with women who are elders and who are experiencing dementia. And one of the first things that is lost is the capacity to describe oneself. Memories go, and the logos also. So many of us do not have the capacity to use words appropriately. If you know, or if you are in relationships where you are told you are less than who you are, if you're belittled, or if you tend to belittle others, you have to become very aware of that. We as practitioners go on a pendulum, in my experience. On the one hand, we have words, definitions, stories, storytelling. On the other side of the pendulum, there's silence, the nod, the silence full of vibrations that is there. So it's very powerful for us to experience the two. And when you think about recurring thoughts, how many of you have recurring thoughts? Are they always of a positive nature, or sometimes you have recurring thoughts of worry? Mostly worry. Very interesting. So where is that voice coming from? From memory. Yes, it's all the vrittis. The smriti and all of the vrittis. So what does Maharishi Patanjali say in the Yoga Sutras about the vrittis? And what does that mean for you? What does that mean for you? Separating from those thoughts. Is that possible to separate from one's thoughts?
Milk and water.
Milk and water. So what does that mean, yoga has chitta vritti nirodha?
Like the lotus blooms in the muddy water, similarly, despite the problems in our life, we grow from those problems as an individual.
Beautiful. Bring the attention to the breath. Yes, so you're giving me tools. But actually, what is your relationship with your thoughts? How do you keep them? What is the process of nirodha? Observation, witnessing.
Dissolving the chitta. Dissolving the chitta.
Dissolving. How do you dissolve it?
Happiness to others.
Giving happiness to others. Okay. Because we do want to know what a narrative is. And we have a narrative inside of ourselves, and we also have the way we speak about ourselves to others. I keep coming back again and again, because when we withdraw from the words, we need to have made peace with the words. It's very difficult to negate, suffocate, fight in the name of serenity. So what I have found to be extremely useful in working, especially with women, but in general when working with this capacity to speak up, is, first of all, the connection that there is between listening and deep breathing. So we'll explore it in a moment. Okay, so the first step is listening. Listening. Listen to the words you're saying. Listen to the feelings you're feeling. Listen to the perceptions. Listening is not just to sounds. Listening is a state of being. You listen with your entire body. Or you can call it perceiving, but it's a form of listening. When people say that listening is passive, do not believe them. Just because the ears have holes, you think that things are poured into you. That's not true. So in the West, great philosophers have said that the eyes are masculine and the ears are feminine because the eyes come out and the ears go in. Okay. Listening is an active state, just like relaxation. And there's a huge relationship between relaxation, deep breathing, and deep listening. So I would like for us to experience that for a moment. And the reason for that is when you're able to listen to yourself in this way, things will start to emerge that you may have kept at bay. You know how Sir said before that if you just do the Hatha Yoga practice, it will make you stronger in what you are. So if you're a thief, it will make you a stronger thief. And if you're abusive, it will make you doubly abusive. Okay, so yoga is not going to fix it. So we want to realize what's, the horror movie that Sir talked about, the vrittis, that we all have this very negative drives inside of us. Jealousy, anger, greed, infatuation, lust. But also think about something else. I want you to really think about something else. Words and the identification with the ego is not bad. Otherwise, we wouldn't have cultural history. We wouldn't have traditions. we would have lost the memory of different cultures. I can only say, I am Italian, I am from Siena, this is the chant that we sing in my hometown. Like, culture is preserved by a clear and sophisticated cultivation of narratives. It seems to me that that is the first step to then go beyond words and identification. What is happening today, I think, is that in this global drive that we are in with the AI and all of this, the social media, we are confused about who we are. There's a lot of labeling of diversity, 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 but who am I? Can I be comfortable saying I am Italian and then also really almost like take a drone view and let go of that being Italian? I don't have to have coffee every day. I don't have to have pasta every day. I don't have to defend my Italianness every day. But I'm proud of it, of its good parts at least. So what I would like us to understand is that we have both the words, both the identity, both the respect for each other, and then at the same time, the capacity to detach. In the Western world, many people who are in a spiritual practice want to detach without the work that is necessary in curating one's identity. They don't want to work on themselves, they just want to meditate. Okay, so this is a bit of a problem that we have in the West.
Sangeeta, can I ask a question?
Sure.
I think that it's easier to detach and then curate rather than trying to curate while you're still attached. Why? Because there are so many influences, especially things like planetary influences, that one can't manage necessarily through some of these processes. So for a lot of people to say that they are divine or soul or whatever, it's easier to withdraw and look neutrally than to keep within that realm and curate. At least
I think this is where yoga comes in as a tool for self-awareness. The yoga practices are all designed. It's a sophisticated design for us to experience this passage between who am I as an embodied Atma and who am I as Shivoham. So I agree with you that for some people it's easier in one way, for some people it's easier. Also it depends on their upbringing. If you have an upbringing where, your parents or whoever took care of you taught you from an early age, you are both Sangeeta and you're also Shivam, then it's easier, but definitely it depends. So let's take a moment. I wanted to take a moment for you to close your eyes and sit up. And connect with your breath. In any particular form that you would like, but remember we practice the Sukha Pranayama. In and out, 4 counts or 6 counts. We're going to share with you this practice called Shabda Pratyahara. And Shabda Pratyahara is really useful in working with storytelling and writing, creative writing. It's the first step, is to listen. A withdrawal after a great expansion. Spanda Nishpanda. So we'll begin by listening to our heartbeat in our chest. Noticing the rhythm, the sensation, the pitch of the heart. And then connecting the sound of the heart to the ebb and flow of your breath, the rhythm of the inhalation and exhalation. We're going to listen now to the sounds just outside of our ears, just around our body. And then expand your listening skill under the control of your mind to the sounds of the room. Try not to grab the sounds or look for them, but relax and allow the sounds to reveal themselves to you. Continue breathing deeply and regularly. We're going to move outside of the doors and welcome the sounds from the floor, the entire floor. And then stretch your listening capacity as far as you can, front, side, back, above and below. Notice if you're tensing as you listen, and relax, allowing the sounds to come to your awareness. Slowly begin to withdraw the sense of listening back to an area of the floor of this building. Then re-entering the room, notice the sound specific to the room. And then come very close to your body and listen to the sounds just around your body, physical body. Allow your listening to move with your breath from the outside of the nostrils into the body, observing any sound you may hear. And then connect to your heart and listen to your heartbeat and feel it pulse at the center of your chest. Bring your attention now, the inner gaze, your inner focus, in the area between the eyebrows, the Pramadya Bindu, and hold your concentration here as you open to listen to all of the sounds, inside and outside. And contemplate the relationship you're experiencing now between listening deeply, breathing regularly, and fully relaxing your body. Go back to the question, who am I? And allow answers to come and rise naturally within you. And connect back to the teaching we shared on the first day in the first session of the So-Hum mantra. Inhaling Sa, exhaling Hum. And bring your hands together and rub them. Place them over your eyes. Open your eyes into this dark, velvety space. Blinking and looking up. Blinking and looking down. Blinking and looking right. Blinking and looking left. And rolling clockwise and counterclockwise, one after the other. And slowly remove the hands. So if you pick up your paper again, give you a moment to reflect. So the question is, what is your experience for you of the relationship between listening, breathing, and relaxing? So you can just jot down some reflections. What has been your experience? Was it easy? Was it hard? We'll just take maybe 3 minutes to write anything that came up for you. Yes, what is the relationship between listening, relaxing, and breathing? What was your experience? Don't give me like a philosophical treaty. Like, what was your experience? What did you notice? What did you feel?
Relaxation was a byproduct of listening and breathing a certain way that we were asked to follow.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Deep silence.
Actually, rhythmic breathing and relaxation.
Come. We all have a chance to speak up, don't worry.
Then the heart and heart pumping and the breathing is going side by side. They are together.
Yes, connection.
There's a connection.
Good.
With relaxation and deep breathing, you can go so deep that you may miss listening.
Did you all hear? This is an interesting answer. So these exercises are practices really, are simple, and the answers may seem simple, but they contain important truths. Can we bring the microphone here, please? Come.
Yeah, with relaxation and deep breathing, you can go so deep that you may miss listening.
Missing listening is a very important question. We think we listen, but we don't listen most of the times. We stop constantly, we interrupt. Why do we do that? Because we want to make a point, no? Are we able, and so listening is one of the first things that goes away. It's true. Deep breathing and relaxation were there, but you miss listening. What do you mean by that exactly?
So when you said focus on the noises or sounds around you, so after a certain time I was focusing, outside the room, and then after that, it was so much in zone that you stop listening to any sounds or any kind of noises or anything.
Mm-hmm.
You're just too deep into silence.
So I think that one of the greatest gifts of this parampara is that we remain fully aware in the deep practice of contemplation. And it's a refinement of the senses. And listening is often the lazy sense for us. Not in Nadi Yoga, of course, but we can be a little bit lazy. Also, if you have someone who talks your ears off, I can see that in my family, no? Like, then we stop listening. We have been desensitized to listening because of pollution, because of social media. But think about it. So thank you for that. Because this is an important question. We want to speak up. It's like, why? This is about speaking up. Why do you talk about listening so much? It's not possible to speak up if we don't listen. We're not going to be heard if we cannot hear. It's not going to happen. I mean, not at least in my experience. So the first step, when people come and it's like, okay, Nadi Yoga, sounds, bhajans, kirtans, let's do it. We ask, how is your listening health? Are you asleep in your listening? No? So thank you so much for that. And
so does that mean that if you listen in real life, then even in subconscious, you will keep listening to those two sounds?
Yes, you listen to sound, and then you become one with them. There's another process where you become one with them.
Okay, thank you.
In fact, we have an experience that is beautiful at the ashram where we have an all-night Om chanting for the Jayanti of the Guru of Swami Gitananda Giri, Swami Kanakananda Brigu. And we practice this all-night Om chanting, taking turns, so that there's never a moment of actual vocal silence. And the Om is being invoked all night long. And the ashram is near the Bay of Bengal, so the sounds of the ocean and the crows and all of this is at the same time. So when we begin by listening to our own voice. Is my sound good? Am I doing the Om better than the narratives are there? Stories. Most of them not under the control of the mind. This is where we want to get here, right? Is that there are narratives. How do we curate them? And we do it by listening, not by just rationally thinking about them. We have to go through listening. So we practice the Om, and then, the competition is there, right, all of the time. Am I doing the Om longer than them? And are they doing them longer than me? And is it high? Is it low? Okay, that chittavritti is all there. Then the Om begins, the Sangha begins to have one sound among people. So we're still listening to the sounds, but now we become one. There isn't Sangeeta and then Padma. It's just one. At some point, when we're so immersed in listening to the vibration, that grace occurs, and there's only the Om. There's nobody else there, it's just the Om. Like when we finish in the morning, everything is Om. The ocean waves are Om, the crows are Om. You open the faucet to wash your hands and it's like, Om. So that's what we're talking about here. We're talking about how do we listen to the divinity in all that is.
You have to keep the conscious awareness also there.
Totally. yeah, it's not about losing awareness, it's about becoming one with all that is. But I mean, we could describe the same thing with different words. It's just a sensation when you're not isolated. And this is an important concept also, perhaps the last one I'll share before, Dr. Ananda ji leads us into a contemplation. But we are not able, it's impossible to relax unless our senses have been refined. In this culture, I mean, in Italy also, but particularly in this culture, you have so many arts that were created for us to refine our senses. The culinary arts, architecture, dance, music, you name it, the Sanskrit itself. So we refine our senses, we refine our senses, we refine our senses, and the inner senses as well, the interior perception of reality we refine, all we refine, so that at some point the senses are satiated and we don't have to catch them, suppress them, put them under here. Like they're just refined, so they don't need to grab. Remember this grabbing? Some of you were here last night. There's no grabbing. I'm going to grab the sound of the mantra so that I can. There's no grabbing. And when, speaking up is about lifting one's voice. That's what speaking up in the title means, right? It's to be able to lift one's voice. And lifting of one's voice truly is a process. It's a lifetime process. But the heart of it is listening. The heart of it is listening. And that's why even though, the whole workshop is about speaking up, actually the focus is on listening. When we listen like this, and we become one with the sounds, the rishis say that we begin to hear inner sounds. Sometimes they say there are 10 sounds through the right ear. So there are deeper layers of that listening. But for us, we begin simply by listening to the sounds that we want to entrain or calm or refine.
So you're talking about inner sounds or outer sounds?
All of them. What is your capacity? What are you hearing? What is going on? Because these are all vrittis. But in order to be able to quiet them, we need to know what they are, each single one of them.
It's like identifying, then dissolving.
Yes, it's identifying and refining. Making them subtler and subtler and subtler and less and less important. But it's a double process. Until we live life and we are in a household and we work and we pay the bills, the refinement of the stories is as important as the refinement of sound into silence. It's like an infinity symbol. And hence, the Carnatic music now will share, this bhajan of the three Devis. And so then we have specific stories that we can lift ourselves to impact how we define ourselves and rarefy and sublimate and make our narratives extremely sattvic as best as we can. But, then life happens and we fall and we make mistakes and the internal voice may say, be judgmental and fearful, and we start again. Amaji says, 99 times we fall, 100 we rise. But the speaking up, and the reason why there's this in English, it's ut, right? The speaking up is to lift the consciousness through the process of refinement. So without shame, without guilt, anything we say about ourselves or others that is, offensive, racial, misogynist, whatever it is, we all have it. We all have it. Nobody's free of it. If there's any of those seeds, we can simply eradicate them by the process of refinement and choosing to focus the listening to what helps us refine our thoughts. So listening to poetry, listening to music, listening to nature. And try to limit the amount of time we spend listening to, people swearings on, social media, or people fighting. So it's a choice.
I was just having I don't know if it was a meditative silence or whether I went to sleep, but anyway, saying that both are similar. But everybody's just, gone into this one Sahaja Samadhi Sthiti Avi. It is like, nowadays, we have moved away from the manual tuning of radios. But when you used to tune an old radio, you had to do the gross tuning, and then there's the refinement. So what Sangeeta was saying, I was just having the visual image that with what we are hearing, the hearing part is the gross part, the listening part is where you refine it. So the gross part is where it is just all the sounds, the cacophony. The listening part is where the refinement into that story, that narrative, that then you can speak. So before the vacha, there has to be a lot of shravana, manana, nididhyasana, and then that vacha should come. And that is why they say, before you say anything, ask yourself questions. Is it necessary? Is it appropriate? Is it needed? Is it non-violent? Is it as real as it can be at this point of time? Is it as close to the truth as it can be at this point of time from what we know? Because again, with information, narratives change. And today we are fed the narratives by the press and media that are by vested interests. And so we are deciding that so-and-so is good and so-and-so is bad. We don't know them. But we are basing our judgment on a narrative that is fed to us by vested interest. And sometimes we are told in our own families, many families, kids are told, you are no good for anything. Your sister is better than you. Your brother is better than you. Look at that neighbor's kid. The padosi wala to हमारे देश में बहुत बेकार होता है. शर्मा जी का बेटा. That also Rohit Sharma won the cup. So उसके बाद तो बहुत हो गया शर्मा जी का बेटा वाला. Next, there's always this comparison. There's always this demeaning. You got 99, but what does it matter? That kid got 100, so you are no good. Hey, you got 99, right? So this is where I think, how do you let the narrative flow about your own self? And this is where I think it is important, a principle of ahimsa. Now ahimsa, as I said yesterday, Gandhiji's ahimsa is very different than Patanjali's principle of ahimsa. Because in Patanjali's, if you look at ahimsa, he says, Krita, Karita, Anumodita. There are three types, all the vitarkas, of which he gives himsa as the example, but it means all of the yama niyama, the opposite of it is vitarka, not just himsa. He gives himsa as the example. He says vitarka himsadaya, himsa et al. In scientific literature we put et al. Himsadaya means himsa et al. Add the other 9 to it. Krita, Karita, Anumodita. He says there are 3 types of violence. Krita is where you are violent to somebody. Physically, mentally, emotionally, socially, financially, spiritually. All of that is Krita. Karita is you are sitting here, but you have somebody else do it for you. So I look good, but you are getting beaten up by my goons. Right? This is the Karita part. Third is Anumodita. You are allowing violence to occur in your presence. If you look at it like that, we are all guilty of violence today. The Anumodita part, हमको उस पे क्या लेना देना? I remember as a medical doctor in the village 25 years ago, I worked 5 years in the villages of Auroville, where I used to go to different villages and pure allopathy. That was not yoga therapy yoga. I wanted to just experience what it is to be a pure medical doctor in villages. And we would get young women who would come with so much of trauma on the face, the body, injury. What happened? I fell down. I'm like, definitely not. Then you start talking, husband has beaten her up, he got drunk and beaten up. That is why I'm so much against alcohol in our Indian village system. I've seen how it has destroyed families. You'll see that physical violence. And I'm like, have you not gone and complained to anyone? And the nurse who's with me, she'll say, sir, don't get involved. Namakenna. Humko kya lena dena? Tomorrow you take her to the police to complain about her husband. She herself will turn and say, it is my husband hitting me, why are you bothered? This is the problem in our country, that we are not willing to step in when we see violence, because we are like, at the end of the day it will be turned on us, so why should I get involved? You mind your business, I mind my business. And we forget it's all our business. That is why violence, allowing violence, is also abetting violence. And my father used to say, sins of commission and sins of omission. And I think if you look at the Yama Niyama today, we are all sins of omission for sure, sins of commission little for sure. So why I am saying this is that at the same time, practicing ahimsa doesn't mean you let people be violent to you. To be in an abusive relationship and let the other person abuse you, you are allowing that violence. You don't need to allow that violence. And that is where speaking up is actually going against the violence that exists in our society. Because if you don't speak up, that violence is being abetted by your silence. And we are often a victim of this. Now you cannot always fight the violence with violence. And I remember a beautiful story you all would have heard of the snake, which was in a village and biting everybody. They were scared of the snake. One day one Swami came, gave one big bhashan on ahimsa, paramo dharma. Snake got converted to ahimsa vadi and stopped biting anybody. Now the Swami went away. उनका तो प्रचारण next village में start हो गया. What happened? Snake became non-violent. It was minding its business. People started hitting it, throwing stone at it. It didn't respond. They beat it up like anything, left it for dead. That Swami was coming by and he looks at it. He says, "Hey, my darling, what happened to you? My dear child, what happened to you? Swami, you only preached ahimsa, paramo dharma. Look at me, I started following your footsteps, and what happened?" He said, "You stupid snake, I told you not to bite. I never told you not to hiss." So sometimes in relationships, sometimes in society, sometimes in situations, you have to go, let's all try that. Through your clenched teeth. It's called Bhujangini Mudra, like a serpent. Breathe in. It also gives you good teeth, okay? Breathe in. And you can actually do this from the Bhujangasana, where you lie down and then you go breathe in and then up. And this is an excellent practice to let out a lot of this pent up stuff. Sometimes it's good to hiss, okay? You don't have to bite. Hissing is good. Let's all stand up for a moment. We are all in one of those Swapna Nidra Jnanalambanam va. So let's go to a Yatha Bhimata Dhyanadva. You know, when Maharishi Patanjali, he talks about how you can find balance. He said, Prachardana Vidaranabhyam Va Pranasya. He says the four attitudes, Maitri, Karuna, Mudito, Pekshanam, Sugatukka, Punya, Punya Vishayanam, Bhavanartha, Chitta Prasadanam. All this he says, Swapna Nidra, Jnana Lambadam Va. His students, I think, nobody was listening to him, like the modern teacher also. So he had a verse, Yatha Vimata Dhyanadva. For God's sake, concentrate on something at least. And whenever we are chanting it, we are like, Prachardana Vidaranabhyam Va Pranasya, like that. Yatha Vimat. So normally we chant Yatha Vimata Dhyanadva. I say no, it's Yatha Vimata Dhyanadva. And that is how Patanjali would have said it, because nobody is doing anything. I am giving you all these methodologies to find the Chitta Prasadanam, clarify your consciousness. You don't want to do anything. For God's sake, focus on anything. Once Sri T.K.V. Deshikachar was asked in a funny TV program, Nayandi Dharbar, we had in Tamil. By that guy, he said how to concentrate. So Deshikachar sir was saying, this, that and all, and on Jyoti, Dharana and all. And so this guy is like, that time Jyotika was our very famous film actress. So he's like, instead of Jyoti, can you think of Jyotika? And Deshikachar is like, even if you want to think of Jyotika, but concentrate on something. So whenever I think of Yatha Vimata Dhyanadva, I think contemplate Jyotika at least. Or Deepika, whoever you want to contemplate, depending on your wish. Anyway, let's get our anxiety and stress out so that we can find ourselves, right? Okay, so hands on the abdomen. Ha, 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 ha.
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 He, 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 he.
He, 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 he.
Me, 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 me.
Me, 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 me.
They, 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 they.
They, 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 they.
Go, 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 go.
Go, 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 go.
Ha, 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 ha.
Ha, 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 ha.
Ho, 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 ho.
Ha, 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 ha.
He, 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 he.
He, 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 he.
Me, 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 me.
Me, 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 me.
They, 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 they.
They, 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 they.
Go, 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 go.
Go, 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 go.
Ha, 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 ha.
Ha, 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 ha.
Ho, 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 ho.
Ha, 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 ha.
He, 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 he.
He.
Me, 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 me.
Me, 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 me.
They, 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 they.
They, 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 they.
Go, 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 go.
Go, 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 go.
You see, you feel so much better. Now you will be able to speak up, because now you have found your voice, right? Yeah. You have contemplated, you have done the Shravana, you have done the Manana, you have done the Nididhyasana, and now you can stand up and you can say what needs to be said. You understand? Please sit down now. I said you can stand up, and now I said sit down. See? We would like to conclude with a very beautiful song that looks at three energies that are there, sacred feminine energies of our culture: Durga, Lakshmi and Saraswati. So we would like to suggest not just the personalization and personification of these amazing goddesses, but let us look at what they embody in their essence. When we talk about Durga, we are talking about strength, courage and resilience. Strength, courage, resilience is quality of Durga. In fact, when Mahishasura is being vadam, that destroyed, every drop of blood will start to create a new Mahishasura. So you have combated one obstacle, a new obstacle comes, you are combating that, overcoming it, a new one. What is that? Resilience. That is why I am suggesting the energy of Durga is not just strength, valor, courage, endurance, but is resilience. You keep on dealing with the obstacle, destroying it, new obstacle, destroy it, until finally you have transcended all of them. When we talk about the energy of Goddess Saraswati, creativity. That creativity that springs within us, we all have creativity. So many people say, oh, I don't have. No, you have, but you don't know where it is. It is like there's a dark room, it is hidden someplace, you have not put the spotlight. The spotlight is consciousness. The spotlight of consciousness, where you focus your consciousness onto the dark areas of you to find out what is your creative plus. Creative plus. That is Saraswati. What do you mean by creativity? It can be as simple as you are walking now. Say I'm coming onto this stage, okay? Because we always think of creativity as being, Picasso or A.R. Rahman or whatever. Now I want to come onto the stage. What are the choices? As I come here, what are the choices I have? One, I could walk onto the stage, okay? Two is I could decide to do this and come around like this. I could decide to come like this and do something like that. I could decide to come around and come here and go la 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 la. I could decide to walk on my hand and do my handstand and come up here. What is the choice to express myself? That is creativity. I remember in medical college they used to have one, what was it called? Best personality contest or something. And it is how you dress up and come. I'm like, seriously, that is not personality at all. Personality is so different than that, but we have put it in that. Creativity ka matlab hai, what type of painting can you do? Creativity ka matlab hai, what type of poetry you can make? No. How do you hold yourself? That is creativity. How do you express yourself? That is creativity. How do you decide to eat your food? That is also creativity. How do you decide to present yourself? That is creativity. All of that is Ma Saraswati. Not just creating music, creating dance, that's all part of it, but not just that. And Lakshmi. Not only money. We have got so fixated, Goddess Lakshmi has to have a hand and golden coins have to keep coming. Pagal log hai sab. Oh, Lakshmi means abundance. Abundance is not only money. In my university, I tell them, one medical seat, they can earn many, many C's. Okay. With yoga department, they will never make any C. Even L doesn't happen. Thousands itself is difficult, let alone lakhs and crores. But I say my management is very wise. They understood that we are giving them income of a different currency. We are giving income. ISCM, the School of Yoga Therapy, Music Therapy, Institute of Salatogenesis, Complementary Medicine, gives our university an income of a currency that can never be devalued. And that is called goodwill. Goodwill is a currency that can never be devalued. Dollar can lose value, euros can lose value, rupees can lose value, goodwill can never lose value. And that goodwill to have abundance is also Lakshmi. So don't think that it has to only be something that you can cash or encash. Abundance. In our culture we say, Dharmartha Kama Mokshanam Chaturvida Purushartham. We want to fulfill our dharma so that artha will also manifest. Material prosperity is required to fulfill your need, not your greed. Greed will never be fulfilled. Gandhiji said, there's enough for every person's need on this planet, but not for one person's greed. Along with that fulfillment of artha, emotional fulfillment, kama. One of the places where kama is positive. Normally we think of kama as negative, like in Kshatripus, kama is very negative. In the Deha doshas, it is very negative. But kama is positive in Dharmartha Kama Mokshanam. It is emotional fulfillment through the proper, as per the standard operating procedure, SOP. And then if you fulfill your dharma, you are fulfilling your artha, you are fulfilling your karma, and you then will be eligible to fulfill your moksha. Thiruvalluvar, the Tamil saint, gives us 1330 verses in Thirukural, focusing on only three aspects: aram, porul, inbam, dharma, artha, kama. He doesn't talk of moksha. And you are like, why? Then you realize if all these three you do, that will happen automatically. And this is why in our culture we revere these deities. They are not the personification. Though they are very beautiful personifications also, but they are not only the personification. Namostute, namostute,
Jai Shri Durga Namostute.
Namostute, Namostute, Jai Shri Durga Namostute, 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 Jai Shri Lakshmi Namostute. Namostute, Namostute, Jai Shri Lakshmi Namostute, 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 Jai Shri Saraswati Namostute. Namostute, Namostute, Jai Shri Saraswati Namostute. Namostute, 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 Durga Lakshmi Saraswati Namostute. Namostute, Namostute, Durga Lakshmi Saraswati Namostute. Namostute, 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 Jai Shri Durga Namostute. Namostute, Namostute, Jai Shri Lakshmi Namostute. Namostute, Namostute, Jai Shri Saraswati Namostute. Namostute, 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 Jai Shri Durga Namostute. Jai Shri Lakshmi Namostute. Jai Shri Saraswati Namostute. Thank you so much.
It feels so difficult to even articulate or say something after, I don't know, such a beautiful, serene, mesmerizing experience I think all of us shared in these spaces. And one just thinks about the kind of madness and chaos we're all probably going to step into. I think when I speak right now, I'm also speaking for all of us here, is that you've given us the much needed glimmer and the ray of hope we've all been desperately seeking for. And I think this is something we'll leave with. This is something we hope to practice in our daily lives, and this is something we will hold on to. So thank you ever so much. Thank you very, very much. I'd also like to take a moment and request Dr. Meenakshi Gopinath, who's the Director of WISCOM for Women in Security, Conflict Management and Peace. And
Rajiv ji comes up and says a few words. I just wanted to, and since we ended on the note of Shri and Shakti, which is such a beautiful way to end, on all our behalves, I'd like to say how grateful we are, how blessed we feel to have both of you with us. And there's how much we've taken away. We'll have to go back home and process all of it. It'll take us some time and begin to identify and even absorb. But you've given us an alphabet, you've given us a framework. We have to now string the words together and hopefully make the sentences and perhaps even write a song based on what you have given us today and yesterday. It's been such 2 such rich, enriching days, days of contemplation, days of moments of self-realization perhaps, moments of serendipity, moments of, as you said, synchronicity, moments of synergy. And I think when we all came together and said the Om, there was that magical moment I think we dipped into. So thank you very much from the bottom of our hearts. Since you ended with the 3 goddesses, I thought I would indulge a bit, and please forgive me if I take a little more time than you had bargained for. But many years ago, a student of mine wrote a very beautiful poem, and since you talked about voice, Sangeeta, and it's about all of us reclaiming our voice, it's all of us realizing our voice, it's also about us being attuned to our voice, and be in sync with our true voice, and also learn the reverberations of other voices. So she called this poem Silence. And it was spoken in a different way. It was using really a lot of feminist, if you want to call it jargon, or if you want to call it vocabulary. And it was about how women are very often relegated to the margins. They don't find their voice. But since it was written by an 18-year-old, I thought you might enjoy it. And then I'll come back to why I chose this to share with you. And it says, she was only about 18 when she wrote this. And this was then presented to Hillary Clinton, who then read it, and she's reproduced it in her book. So it must have said something to her. And it goes like this: too many women in too many countries speak the same voice, speak the same language of silence. My grandmother was always silent, and she was always aggrieved, because only her husband had the cosmic right, or so it was said, to speak and to be heard. They say it is different now. After all, I'm always vocal, and my grandmother thinks I talk too much. But sometimes I wonder, when a woman shares her thoughts, as women do, graciously, it is allowed. When a woman fights for power, as most women would like to, it is questioned. And yet, there must be freedom if we are to speak. And yes, there must be power if we are to be heard. And when we have both, freedom and power, let us not be misunderstood. We seek only to give words to those who cannot speak. Too many women in too many countries. And I seek to forget the sorrows of my grandmother's silence. This was her poem. And of course it was about freedom, and it was about power. And today, both Sangeeta ji and Dr. Ananda told us about a different kind of freedom, a transcendental sense of rediscovery. And I think, as Eliot has said, we shall not cease from exploration. And the end of all our exploration will be to go back to where we started and know the place for the first time. That beginner's mind of understanding, and then reflection, and then absorption. And so when we talk about power today, I think he showed us very beautifully that true, genuine power comes from 2 things: authenticity and abundance. I think that was my big takeaway from both days. Authenticity, how do we get closer to being our authentic selves? And how do we cultivate abundance every day? The abundance is really the difference between counting the number of seeds in an apple and imagining the number of apples that there could be in a seed. And I think that is the kind of abundance he spoke about. You know, when Roger Bannister ran the 4-minute mile many years ago, it was considered to be an impossible task. No human being had attempted it or even managed it. But he ran the 4-minute mile. And within 2 or 3 months of his running it, several other people broke it. So I think that's what he meant by saying, I am possible. I am possible because there are women and men in this group who have overcome several hurdles, several reversals, and yet come out triumphant in the sense of knowing that the human will does have the ability to come in touch with its potential. There are women like Shimona Dasgupta who are here with us today. There are women like Rasika Khanna who are with us today, and each of their stories is a story of resilience, of strength, of courage, of faith, and of humanity. And so thank you for bringing that back to us here today. And when we were talking about these 3 goddesses, I think you were also telling us that more and more of us, both men, women, people of the other gender, and children, need to speak more and more in the metaphoric mother tongue. Not Urdu, not Bengali, not Malayalam, not Tamil even, sir. But the language of inclusion, the language of love, the language of peace, the language where all maps can turn, and the language that can speak truth to power. And I think in that sense, Durga, Lakshmi, Saraswati all merge into this beautiful Shakti, which we hope through your, shall I say, message and your teaching of abundance and authenticity, we will be able to recover. You also told us about sound, how important, and of course we all know that the best music is made in the silence between notes. That's where the best music really emerges, the music of the heart, the music of the throat, of course the music of the mind. And when we can calm ourselves from the chattering of the world outside us, that one magical moment, we sometimes get in touch with ourselves. It's not given to us to do that every day because we need gurus like you. But that kind of the word which evokes worlds and horizons has to be so carefully chosen, carefully articulated. And when you talked about non-violence, it reminded me, Satyam bruyat, priyam bruyat, na bruyat apriyam satyam. Speak the truth, speak what's pleasant, but do not speak what is unpleasant, and not speak something pleasant only because you want to please somebody. So that's where the whole issue of authenticity comes, and non-violence. Because very often we say seemingly lovely things, but the motivation behind that is violence. We say, oh, you look so beautiful, when we know that somebody is looking dreadful that day. Or we say, oh, what a beautiful sari, when the colors are horrendous and we don't mean it. That is a kind of violence because it is separating us from them. We would not like to be in that position at any point in our lives where we are derided quietly. So the use of the word you showed us through these, is such a potent power that resides within us. And that is the freedom, and that is really the liberation. And when you talked about Sa Vidyaya Vimuktaye, that alone is knowledge that leads to liberation. So I mean, there are so many ideas. I'm not going to try and encapsulate them because we were all listening almost so attentively. But the Spanda Nishpanda was a fabulous exercise. Also walking us through that we can't all reach Kaivalya, but we can certainly try to move from pathogenesis to salutogenesis, and hopefully we will. And then we can all dance. And we can all, at some point in our lives, be one with the dance of life. The dance of life which has its ups and its downs, its melodies, its silences, its cadences, and even its pain. You also taught us that pain also is a valuable, something that we need to understand, that in some senses not only chastises us, but it's like strings the tanpuras of our being. It makes it more resilience, it makes it. So without pain, I think, as they say, no gain without pain. And you taught us active listening. That part of exchanging oneself with the other is the art of active listening, and to know that each person has a story. Each person carries certain burdens, each person brings certain truths, each person has several identities, each person has a rich heritage of being and becoming. And if only we can tune into that common humanity, we live as better people. So thank you to one of the best gurus that I have known, and to his shishya, who I think is one of the best shishyas I have known. Thank you for what you contribute to this planet, to this universe, and also open up the possibility of many universes for us. I think that is, as you said, Shishyat Ichet Parajayam. The great teacher wishes to be defeated or surpassed by his student. And I think, I'm not saying that that is the case here, but that is the ambition of every great teacher. And I know it is your ambition as well. And may you always be blessed. May Saraswati always be at the tip of your tongue. May she bring music through you to us. May Durga give us power to overcome our lesser selves through you to us. And may Saraswati always be astride that beautiful Hamsa, the Hamsa that will lead us to the Paramahamsa, and who is a denizen of three worlds, of earth, of water, and of ether. So on behalf of the Foundation for Universal Responsibility, on behalf of Rajiv Mehrotra, on behalf of Kiran Koshi, on behalf of Akash Leena, on behalf of Legmon, on behalf of Shivam, on behalf of our dear friend, without whom we cannot do anything. आप ऊपर आके सबके सामने नमस्कार कीजिए, क्योंकि आपके बिना हमारा ऑफिस नहीं चलेगा. Please. Mamta, and behalf of all of you, once again, heartfelt gratitude. Keep coming back. And next year, we hope we will do, as you said, the chakras, and we will do colors. I think the color aspect is something we all need to know more from you, the colors of life that eventually blend into the whiteness of realization. So, thank you once again.
That's a good word.
We'll watch the recording and jot it down. And Dr. Gopinath, Meenakshi-ji, I have something for you, if I may. I wanted to show and I wanted to give in front with the blessings of Guruji, because we have something that we shared last year. Please come. We have something that we shared last year, that the neighborhood in my city of Siena, it's an old neighborhood. It has the same colors of the flag of India, which is orange. And then also, on top of that, there's the Indian rhino in our... Okay. So, may I? You're officially a member of our neighborhood. Without visa. Yeah, she can just fly.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I've been struggling with how I could not have the last word. So I shall merely say that 150 full hearts speak for themselves, as does mine, and for all of us here. And a small token, a small material token of something much deeper and more profound than gratitude is really the felt experience of how we leave this room enriched.